Africa, a mysterious and great place that is mostly located on the eastern hemisphere and is surrounded by multiple oceans on all sides. Africa has many different types of agricultural food that they can grow, such as bananas, maize, or rice. Africa's current population is 1.36 billion people in 2021. Some animals that live in Africa are the African elephants. Another inhabitant of Africa is known as the giraffe. One more example of an animal that lives in Africa is the meerkat, which is very small compared to the giraffe. The two main languages spoken in Africa is Swahili and Arabic. Over 25 million people test positive for HIV, and 17 million have died of the disease in Africa. In the past, many countries in Western Europe fought to colonize Africa, which was known as the Scramble for Africa. The two main religions practiced in Africa is Islam and Christianity. There are a total of 54 countries that exist in Africa, not including one non-self-governing territory known as West Sahara. Africa is home to different ecosystems such as rivers like the Nile or deserts like the Sahara. Including the plains and some forests. Africa is the world's poorest and undeveloped continent in the world, with the continental GDP of 2.4%. Almost 40% of adults are illiterate, 2/3 of that being women. There is a flag that represents all of Africa, which is red, black, and green.
So we know that also we have a global industry, just a global system of profiting off of child labor, whether it's the clothes that we wear or any of the other goods that we get that, here in the States, we enjoy because maybe they're affordable, but we don't see who suffers in order for us to be able to purchase that less expensive piece of clothing or toy or whatever it is.
What are the social implications of each type of child exploitation?
Yeah. So that's the thing about, us profiting from that system without being willing to accept that that is what is going on. It's easier for people to enjoy I guess, unfortunately, and benefit from other people's suffering as long as we're not seeing it, we're not hearing about it. And so those social problems that we have is that people are not willing to make what we now would call sacrifices, maybe to pay a little bit more for goods and services that are fair trade, to make sure that children are not being exploited behind the scenes, because it is so prevalent. And this is continued a long history. We know that children have always been exploited in any industry, and for a long time. Talking about, we can go back to any of the mill work in the States, and it's really only getting into this later half of this past century where we started changing those rules and policies, but still there's so much that goes on. So I think it's a huge problem that people aren't willing to look at where their goods and services are coming from. And if we're not willing to do that, then we're all complicit, and then we're all guilty in this suffering of children and their exploitation.
Economic exploitation, well, first of all, it doesn't allow growth for the kids and teenagers that are involved in the sexual exploitation, in the economic exploitation, sorry. So I would imagine, in a way, because of the economic exploitation, for example, there will be people, adults, that would, otherwise earn, better wage, but cannot, because, kids and children are being exploited, and obviously they're being paid much, much less under harsh conditions. So it affects even those, adults that want to, work. And in a way, how would I say it? Like, it drags society down, because obviously the youth, the children, are the future. And if you're exploiting them economically, you're basically retaining them and not teaching them to grow. That's all that they're ever going to know. And so they're never going to, have a quote unquote normal life.
So according to UNICEF, the average age for child exploitation is 5 to 17. What are the long-term effects on a person later on in life, such as during adulthood?
Oh, the psychological effects are traumatizing. The younger, the worse. If you're being exploited, whatever it is, sexually or economically, sexually even worse, obviously, but either way, the scars, if you're, 7 years old, 10 years old, I would say, without a shadow of a doubt, the effects are, they last through your whole life, and you would definitely need therapy, group support, because basically, your freedom, your liberty are taken away, are stripped away at a very, very young age. You become what we call now modern day slavery. And so, it's not only like in the economic exploitation. It's not only that they're getting paid $1 to work the whole day at a field in Africa, right? It's not only the misery of earning $1 at the most per day, but it's also the harsh treatments that go along with it. There's a lot of psychological violence in both sexual and economic exploitation. If they don't do what they're supposed to do, how they are asked to do, they get beaten up. So it's hard what they go through. And I would say the effects, as I said, it's just the whole adulthood. Even, I would say, like, I've had a normal life, quote unquote. And still, I have issues to, solve on my own. And I couldn't imagine if I had an experience so painful at an age that I couldn't understand what's going on.
So my plan for my service learning project is to team up with Nathan Quo in another class and combine our two topics. Of mine is modern day slavery, and more specifically child exploitation, and his of education. So we are trying to create posters and put them in our neighborhoods and in the public. And we're planning to make two different types of posters, and one that leads to and have a QR code that leads to a website of Siraj's website. And this addresses the need of raising awareness in our community about child exploitation and like how they might be deprived of education if they're affected by child exploitation. They might not be able to go to school or get the proper education that they might need. So the results of my project was that I was able to hang 4 of the 6 as a group. We were able to hang 4 of the 6 posters. We weren't able to post our posters. We weren't able to find anybody that would allow us to put our posters up, like at their building. Definitely our strengths were creating our posters. I think we did a really good job creating our posters. But I think a weakness was working on those like the process. It was difficult through Discord, which we did it through. So it was hard to communicate our ideas and like what exactly we wanted to do. And looking back on the process of hanging up our posters, the project impacted me by showing me what it actually meant to go into my community and provide service to them. I was able to communicate with different people in the public to talk with them about letting them put our posters up there. And how I impacted the community was I was able to provide awareness to the community about my topic and how education can be also tied in with child exploitation, and it can help raise awareness and hopefully create a safer neighborhood in my community. And my knowledge and skills that I acquired skill being a team player. Definitely had to be a team player during that project. I was able to use my skill of, I don't know if it's skill, like charisma, talking to other people. I had to use that skill. And I'm most proud was I took a real step, like not just playing and not being able to do it. Like I was able to take a real step and provide service to my community, which I'm really proud of. And the project kind of dealt with effort, because it was definitely an effort to create the posters as a group and create a QR code. Trouble finding a website to create a QR code, but that was definitely an effort. And then it was an effort to go outside and meet up. We had to create time to meet up and put our posters up. And then creativity, I say there was a little bit of creativity in our project, creating with the designs and ideas that we wanted to include in our posters. We wanted it to make it look appealing to the eye, so people would want oh, that's a cool poster, and we wanted them to read it. So I would say that was dealt with a little bit of creativity. I wouldn't say it was really original, but yeah.